I don't want to be a head in a toilet. I don't want to be a head in a toilet. I don't want to be a head in a toilet. The girl repeatedly muttered to herself, the expression of horrific terror draining everything else from her face. The girl stood there frozen, bathed in the red glow of the flare, as flashing blue and red lights flickered in the distance, rapidly approaching, then the faint auditory of sirens amplifying. Down the street cavalcaded police Skibidi Toilets. Black porcelain with enormous red and blue lights reminiscent of those on the roofs of Japanese police cars. The disgusting freakish heads bobbing in the toilet bowls wore official police caps. One could only speculate that they were all once former human police officers, now transformed by the viral Skibidi scourge, and turned to do their unholy, inhuman bidding. The girl prepared to close her eyes and accept her fate when a whizzing snap zipped past her left ear. The Skibidi toilet in front of her cracked and shattered before her, its head and elongated neck flopping in pain and panic on the ground before her as it slowly went limp and expired. The other Skibidi officers' faces became a wash of dismay and grief, before quickly turning to immense rage, focusing on the girl. The toilets moved closer, another snap in the air, and the bloody brains and skull fragment of a head splattered about, quickly followed by another, and another. The toilets, aware that they were under assault, but did not deviate, continuing to move forward. Another round split the air, and missed the head of the next Skibidi. "Shit. I missed," growled Ryoko. The bullet missed the head, but connected with a small bulb on the back of the toilet tank, between the police lights, pulling it up as the bullet passed through, piercing a hole through it. The distinct sound of a toilet flushing went off the head, and neck began to violently twist and spin, throwing the police cap off, as a moment later the head was sucked down into the bowl of the toilet. A gurgling sound came from the drain as the entire toilet tipped over onto its side, the police cap spinning around on its rim as it settled onto the ground next to the dead crapper. "They can be flushed?" retorted Ryoko to herself, slightly confused. Ryoko sent round after round downrange, smashing through toilet after toilet, most shattering the bowl and killing the head near instantly. Others occasionally missing the head or bowl and smashing the tank in the rear, requiring a follow-up shot to put the toilet down for good. She took the shots to hit the plunger when she could, flushing the heads, providing confirmation that these creatures could be flushed to kill them. The girl continued to stand there, paralyzed with fear. She turned her toes in to point at each other with a gap still between them. She jolted out of her induced paralysis. She raised her rifle up and ejected the magazine. It fell to the ground, landing between the tips of her toes, bouncing with a dull metal clang against the concrete. She then reached into the pack on her left hip and pulled another out and loaded the fresh magazine into the rifle. She chambered the first round, pulled the collapsible stock to her shoulder, and began to fire in bursts. Her marksmanship was spotty, not horrible, but Ryoko could tell from watching that this girl lacked experience. "That's a girl. Keep fighting. We need to save every human we can," Ryoko said to herself. The bullets from the girl's rifle dinged and chipped away at the toilets. The girl was able to put bullets into flesh if the Skibidi got close enough. While Ryoko's heavy anti-material rounds were able to obliterate her targets, one contact with one hit mostly. Ryoko noticed the girl had a comm set on. Ryoko removed her hand from the rifle's trigger for a moment to press the button on her own set, over her right ear, hidden under her hair. "Can you hear me?" asked Ryoko. Ryoko heard white noise, static, and silence. "Can you hear me?" she asked again. Between firing bursts, the girl started to hear a crackling in her ear. Just static at first, but then she could make out Ryoko's voice. "Can you hear me?" Crackling through. "Yes? Yes, I can hear you. Where are you?" The girl shouted in exuberant panic as she began to turn and look wildly about, trying to find where her mysterious help was coming from, and losing focus on the threat in front of her. An outstretched head loomed down on her. Her gaze started to turn forward again, seeing the head nearly right next to hers. Too late to bring her rifle to bear, too late to get a clean instant kill shot needed at this range. The head exploded, spattering blood in a streak behind it as Ryoko took it out. "Don't get distracted," chided Ryoko. "You're not out of this yet."